Alright, in this video we are going to look a little bit deeper at the not so much JSON parsing now, but XML parsing. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because if you've seen my video on the KLWP Weather Underground JSON parsing, we couldn't get some of that information to show up in KLWP. However, if we go with the XML route, I can get pretty much everything to show up, especially the things I couldn't get to show up using JSON parsing. So it's going to be very similar. If you haven't watched this video, go to around the 9-minute mark of the KLWP Weather Underground, and I talk about adding a global variable, and all I did in that video was just take the web address for that particular JSON file, and I created a text global and I called it WU. So go watch that, see how I add that text global, and I only do that because I don't feel like typing that web address in every time. That's the only reason why I did it. I've already done it over here on this preset, and with that said, here's what you would type in different. You still would do the basic setup. Notice you put your API key here. And since I've also updated to the Anvil plan, which gives the 10-day forecast, you get some thumbnails and things like that. I'm doing forecast 10 days. So it's going to be a little bit different than what we had back here. And plus it's going to look different too because it's not going to be a JSON. It's going to be a .xml. So with that said, copy that over, create a text global variable just like I did in this video. Feel free to start watching around the 9-minute 6-second mark to talk about how to add that text global. But from there, we're going to start doing it XML style versus JSON style. So here's how we can do this. Now, I had the XML loaded here, and basically it kind of looks like a JSON, but we have these little, now I'm using Chrome, maybe you'll have this, maybe you won't, but we can, close things out, kind of like I used to do with the some of that JSON pretty print or the beautify or whatever it was I did use when I did the video. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get some of these things to show up using .xml. Remember to copy that over into your text global variable. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to add some text. And I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. And let me go ahead and make some adjustments. So fixed width, I'm going to bump this on up to 700. That way it's not going to be cut off. That's good enough, and I want to go ahead and center this. All right, you don't have to do that, but I'm going to anyway. So let's go back and let's go into here and let's add some JSON parsing. So I'm going to go down to wget or WG webget, and it's going to be the second choice here. So quote of the day, text, and we're parsing an XPath expression for XML content at the URL. So remember, this address here with my API key is what I'm pulling, and basically this is what comes up on the website. So let me go ahead and add that into it. Now obviously we have to change some things in here. The web address, the .xml file, well, what we need to do there is we need to put in that global variable WU that I created back in my other video. It's the same name and everything like that. So GVWU. All right. Now here's how we parse this, so to speak. Suppose we want to get Wilson, North Carolina to show up. There's a couple of ways that we can do this. Suppose that full, that might be the only, okay. Let me do full. Now notice I got 2 backslashes instead of a period like I did in JSON. So let me just type in full. Let me check this. Let me save it. And let me go back to the home screen. Now is it going to load anything? Okay, so maybe if it doesn't, I'll tell you what. Let me take away the quotations around that at least. There we go. See? Okay, so we don't need quotations around that. So there we go. Wilson, North Carolina. As you can see, it says Wilson, North Carolina. Now notice that says full and that says full. So you might say, okay, well, which one is it pulling? Now the way I understand it right now is that it's going to pull the first word that it sees full. Suppose you want this one. Well, what we're going to have to do there, suppose I want to see this long thing right here. What I'd have to do is direct it, I guess, to that particular piece. So I'm going to do // and instead of going to full first, let me close out of this one. Let me close out of this one. And okay, let's keep it in current observation because notice these other things are a little bit to the right. I don't care about image. I don't want display location. I want observation location. So I'm going to do observation underscore location, and this is a lot like the Json parsing, and now we want to do 2 backslashes. Now notice what it's pulling. It's pulling Wilson Country Club, Wilson, North Carolina, and as you can see underneath observation location, we have Wilson Country Club, Wilson, North Carolina. Now, you may say, okay, why don't I cover current observation? Well, you don't necessarily have to put the full path in here for it to pull that. It's going to pull the first thing it sees underneath. It's going to look for observation location, and then it's going to pull full. Whereas when I kept it as full just a moment ago, remember this? This is how I understand it at least. What it does there, it's going to look for the first time it says full. Well, that's not the first time it says full. The first time we see full, if we look at, expand this whole thing out, that's the first time it'll see full, so that's what it's going to pull. With that said, let me go ahead and show you some things now that we can go ahead and get the current underscore or temp underscore F. Remember that? Well, actually, temp underscore F, the first time it's displayed, it's under current observation, and then it's going to be down here a little ways at temp underscore F. But since that's probably, I'm pretty sure this is the first time it says temp underscore F in this whole XML file. So if I just do temp underscore F right now, it's probably going to pull, there you go, 42.9. Now what do we have for temp underscore F here? Temp underscore F is 57.7. Okay. I tell you what, let me save this, check it, save it, go back to the home screen. Look, 57.9, it had to refresh it. Now it says 57.7 here. If I reload this page, I bet it's going to say 57.9. There we go, boom. See how we're pulling temp underscore F, whereas we were not doing that with the JSON. And I think the reason why is because the JSON file did not have that particular temperature around quotation marks. So, now, an alternative way, because sometimes we can't just say, hey, go straight to temp underscore F because, or whatever, because it might be located further down in the document and it might be duplicates, like we saw a moment ago with the full. Remember how full, there was really like 2 places up here that said full. There was one here and here, but in order to get to this one, we had to go to observation location. So if I come in here and if I change my path, I'm going to still get the same answer. I'm going to get the same readout, but I'm going to show you how you can do a direct path straight to that exact thing. So we don't need terms of service. We don't need features. Current observation is really the first piece we want to go to, so I'm going to put that in here, and we're going to get the same thing. I just want to show you different ways of getting the same readout. So current observation, every time you go to a new piece, notice it's still giving me the same readout because it's looking, well, here's what it's doing. It's looking through that document. It's looking for current observation. Boom, it sees it. And then it's going to look for the first time it sees temp underscore F. Well, the first time it's going to see it is way down here. But notice if we did current observation, we don't need image. We don't need display location. Observation location. So I'm going to add that in here, and I'm still going to get the same exact thing. So observation underscore location, and let's put 2 backslashes. So let's make sure this is reading right. Current underscore observation, observation underscore location, and then we want, oops, it's not observation location. Okay, we don't need that one because observation location does not have a temp underscore F. So we definitely don't want to do that. That was my mistake. But notice it's given the same thing there if we do current underscore observation and then we do the temp F. If I just take away the current underscore observation, again, the way I understand this is that it's just going to look through that document from the top and it's going to look for the first time it says temp underscore F. Just like what we did a while ago with the full. But sometimes you do have to define which full do you want, you know, because you have a full here and a full here. So make sure you navigate to that correctly. Now let's just look at a few more things in here. Let me talk about like groups, chunks of stuff. Let's look at, okay, let me close out some of these things. Okay, I don't care about current observation. Well, let's talk about forecast. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say let's use the direct path to it, just so we don't make any mistakes. So forecast is what we want first. And suppose we want, now notice what it says here, okay, slash forecast. Well, what it's doing right now, all of this stuff here is returning everything, okay. it should be returning all this stuff here. Well, we definitely got to clean this up because that's returning a whole bunch of information. I definitely don't want that. We want forecast. Let's go to, well, really, we don't. There's so many ways you can actually do this. Okay, let me go to forecast days. I don't even have to go to text forecast. Heck, I'm going to do it anyway. So text underscore forecast. All right, notice it's starting to return. Okay, 10:55. Here it says 11:17. I guarantee if I check this, save it, and go back to the home screen, look, 11, I know it's blurry, 11:17, 11:17. So it's returning forecast, text forecast, and now it's saying 11:17. I know that's very blurry because we're going to narrow this down even more. Okay, let's narrow this down. Where are we at in our path? We are text forecast, and suppose we want this right. Okay, forecast days. So let me put my forecast days. Notice here we got text forecast. Now we want forecast days. So 2 backslashes. All right, so underneath forecast days, it's going to return like periods, the period 0, the clear, and so forth. Suppose we want this text right here. So let me do // FCT TEXT. All right. Now, what is it returning to us? Okay, this right here is not right. Let me check this. Let me save it, and let me go back to the home screen. Sunny, high 66, winds, blah, blah, blah. Well, notice what that says right there. Okay? Well, notice we have a couple of different sections. We got forecast days, and look at all these, look at these pieces as I close these out. And that's going to give me a 10-day forecast. And we should be, oh, okay, and the reason why there's so many of them is because it's doing like a day, night. So I think there's going to be like 20 of these. Look, period, 50, okay, we're almost there. All right, there we go. Okay. Now, if we did not put anything inside of here, if we didn't put anything right here, okay, so we did forecast, text forecast, forecast days, forecast, text forecast, forecast days, and then we have a FCT text. If we don't put anything, let me make sure I'm doing this right. All right, forecast days, make sure. Okay, what we're going to have to do here is, suppose we wanted to get to this one. Notice this is like the second group, and this is the first group. Okay, let me put forecast days, and let me insert brackets, and let me put a 1. Okay, let me check this. Let me save it. Let me go back to the home screen. And now I put a 1 in there. Well, notice that's no different than what we see right there. Okay, but that's group number 1. Suppose we wanted this second group. Now notice we got group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. It's not zeros now. Like I think in the Json Parsing it was zeros. Well, this is 1, this is 2. So if I go in there and change that bracket to a 2, it should look for forecast days and it should look in group number 2. So let me change that 1 to a 2. All right, now if it doesn't work, I'm going to tell you why we have to change our coding here. Okay, it's not going to display it. So here is why. This is where I messed up just a second ago. Okay, forecast days is actually this entire group. Forecast days is actually only one group that says forecast days. So really, to get to this second group here, what we have to do is I'm going to take away that, I'm not going to take away the bracket, I'm just going to put 2 more backslashes. And notice these groups that are called forecast day is not forecast days, it's forecast day. So this is where you have different numbers of groups. So I'm going to do forecast and a day that's not plural. Now it should be returning the second group that is called forecast day underneath this path. Forecast, text forecast, forecast days, forecast day, and we want group 2 and we want the text inside of that second group. So it should be pulling this right here. Let me check this. Let me save it. Go back to the home screen, and now clear skies, low 44, winds south-southwest 5 to 10 miles an hour. Boom, that's what we got right there. Okay, and that is forecast day group 2. Now again, let me show you some ways that you can simplify this coding. Watch, I can get the exact same thing if I come in here and I delete everything. Okay, I should get the same thing with that. Check it, save it, go back to the home screen, and it didn't change anything about it, because that's what I was mentioning earlier in this video. When we go to the coding, it's going to scan that document. It's going to look for the first time it sees forecast day. Well, with the way I have my URL typed in, forecast is going to come after conditions, and I think if you do swap these two things right here, it will do the forecast first, then the condition second. I haven't tested that, but it kind of makes sense, I hope. Nonetheless, over here, it's going to look for the first time it sees forecast day. Well, if we go through all this stuff up here that I've already kind of, minimized, I guess you could say, the first time it's going to see forecast day is right there. Well, then it's going to realize that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of groups. Well, what group do we want to look in? We want to look in group 2. Let's pick another random group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. This is group number 10. Let me change this to a 10. And let's see what happens. Let's see if everything matches up. Now, obviously, this is probably not showing right here, but if I save it, go back to the home screen, partly cloudy, low 49 degrees, winds light and variable. Partly cloudy, low 49, winds light and variable. So I hope you're understanding what those brackets mean. And actually, I like the XML because of the way that we can parse this. We don't have to put in the entire path that leads exactly up to whatever we're looking for. Just think of it as this first thing here. As long as it's going to be the first one it sees in there, which forecast day, that's the first time it'll see it, and in this entire XML document, then we tell it to go to group 10, which is what we did, and it's pulling the FCT text. All right, I hope that makes sense. Now, let's get away from text forecast, and let's look at simple forecast. Now, to get to this one, notice it says forecast day. But yet we're not getting this stuff. Because this forecast day, it says forecast day. This one right here says forecast day. Well, what we need to do is we just need to tell this XML file, okay, first thing I want you to look for is simple forecast. So simple, is there any spaces? Simple, nope, just simple forecast. So, all right, do 2 backslashes. And now, okay, it's probably not going to pull a group 10. Let's see why. Okay, we're under simple forecast. We don't have to do forecast days. We can skip over that. So it's looking for simple forecast, found it. Then it's looking for forecast day. Well, let's see how many forecast days we have here. So forecast day. How many of these do we have? I bet it's only going to return 10 of them. Because the text forecast up here, the one that I minimized, it has 20 pieces because it's doing a day and a night for each day, whereas forecast day is actually going to be the highs and the lows. This is where you can get some basic forecast stuff instead of that long text. So let's go. Notice we don't have, okay, we do have a group 10, don't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You might say, okay, well, why is it not showing anything? There is no FCT text. If you look through all this junk here, there is no FCT text. Suppose we want the high and we want it in Fahrenheit. What we should be able to do the first time, okay, since I'm in forecast day 10 under simple forecast, this is group 10, we shouldn't have to go high Fahrenheit. The first time I see Fahrenheit in this group is right there. So I should be able to come right here and do Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit. Okay, I'm seeing 68. That's not what I'm seeing over here, but again, let me check it, save it, go back to the home screen. 70 under group 10, is that what we see? Yes, we do. So I like this XML because we can kind of skip over some of the parts of the path. And I hope I've kind of made that clear in regards to what exactly we're doing there. Okay, other things I don't have, yeah, I hope you get the idea there. I like the XML. It's the first time I messed around with it about 2 days ago, and I was like, well, dang, this is easier than JSON because, again, it's just going to look, it's going to hunt through that document until the first time it sees simple forecast. Well, then what do you want to see under simple forecast? Forecast day. In this case, the 10th group of forecast day, which is the one that I just did right here, and then we want to look for the word Fahrenheit. So you can knock out a lot of the path. I mean, to get straight to that, we can skip over all this junk and just tell it to say, hey, look for simple forecast. Okay, I got it. Now what am I looking for? I'm looking for group 10 of forecast day. It's looking there. And then it's going to look for the word Fahrenheit inside of these little greater than, less than symbols, which is right there. So it's going to return that guy. I like that. I really do. Now, feel free to go to the API Weather Underground place. You can get thumbnails now with the Anvil plan. We can pull those images. I can do another video on that. And we don't need Tasker to pull images. Believe it or not, we can actually pull those images using a basic image URL. We can just go, add image. I tell you what, I'll do it right now since I have you here. So image, let's bump this image to the center. It's probably not going to be the prettiest thing in the world, but this should still work. Center, and let me just bump the size up a little bit. All right, so where can we pull an image from? I'm looking for anything that has an icon URL. Boom, there's one right there. Okay. I'll tell you what, let me come back up here to the top and let me talk about some ways that it will pull different. Okay, let me minimize this, open it back up. Okay, let me see. Image. Okay. What's the first time it sees URL? If I come in here and I go to pick image, I'm going to type in a code, and then we have to do that Json Parsing again. So, not Json Parsing, XML. So where is it at? WebGet. Let me use my finger. All right, right there. We want that again. Remember here we did, I should have copied and pasted this, but it's no big deal. Won't take but a sec. So GVWU, again, that's just that long address with the API key. And now, if I just do straight up to URL, it's going to hunt for the first time it sees the word URL. Okay? And the first time it sees URL from the top, hunting, looking. Notice I have everything expanded. I don't have it closed. You know what I'm saying? Everything's open. URL, boom. Okay, that's the first time it's looking for it. So it's going to pull that URL right there. And notice it matches that, even though I don't have the page refreshed. But if I check this, I save this, I go back to my home screen, and bam, there's your Weather Underground. Boom. All right. Suppose we want to get... okay, icon URL. Let's look at this one. So let me go back in here. Let me change this to icon URL. And how is that written? It's written icon underscore. Because this is where you're going to have to give a direct path. All right, let me check this now. It's not cloudy because this thing right here is not updated. But once I save it, go back to the home screen. Okay, now that's not the prettiest image. I've talked about getting the SVG images, but nonetheless, okay, obviously this is a sunny icon. I'm going to reload this page. And remember what I put in? I put in icon underscore URL. Okay, I don't see anything inside of terms of service. I don't see anything inside of there. Current observation. Okay, icon underscore URL. Nothing there. Icon underscore URL. Nothing there. And the first time it's going to pull it is right there. Clear. That's the one that it's pulling. All right, and that's what we get. But this icon underscore URL shows up in several places. So suppose we don't want to get that one. Suppose I want to get one for the forecast. So current underscore observation, I don't want to be there anymore. Suppose I want to get, okay, there's another clear one. Let's get one that's, okay, night clear. Boom. But notice it has icon underscore URL. Well, we have to be careful how we navigate through this one. Okay. Remember how earlier I mentioned forecast day? The first time it gets mentioned is underneath this forecast. We don't have to go to text forecast, even though forecast day is underneath it. I don't want this one. I want forecast day group number 2 because I want to get that link right there. So basically we should see like a moon or something when we pull this one. So we code this the same way as we did as we got the text item a while ago. I want icon URL, but again, if we don't have anything in front of that, it's going to return the first one that we get. So I need to put some stuff in front of this. I want to pull forecast day, and this is not the first group for forecast day, but the second group for forecast day. So forecast day, and do 2 backslashes. Whoa. All right, now it says chance rain, but let me check this. Basically, we should be getting like a clear moon, I'm pretty sure. Save this, go back to the home screen, and okay, it did not do what I thought it would. Let me check something else real quick. Let me load that image up. Okay, we should be getting a moon. Let me see what I did wrong in my code. So forecast day, and we want group number 2, icon. Oh, that's what I didn't do. So forecast day icon URL, by me doing it like that, that's returning forecast day, the first group. Well, I said group number 2, but I never applied group number 2. I applied group number 2 right there. Because remember, this is the second group of forecast day. Let's check it. Let's save it. Let's go back to the home screen. And now we have that moon that I just showed you a moment ago. So I hope that makes sense. That's how you can quickly pull these things. However, as you can see there, that's not the prettiest picture. It's really just that picture there. But when you start zooming in on that thing, it's a GIF and it's not the highest resolution at all. Maybe if you make this really small, it'll be clear, but I don't like using it. You can just tell it's been like chopped and whatever. But anyway, you know, that's how you can get images using a URL along with XML parsing, or you could even do that with Json Parsing. I didn't mention that in the other video. But there you have it. That's how you can use XML, and in my opinion, a much faster way of getting information from your from a website, whether you have an API key or some XML document. And that's it for this video. Hope it helped.